But yesterday it was all about another man.
Yeah, his name is Shohei Ohtani. Unbelievable. I'm here to say, F Babe Ruth. There's a new standard in town.
And his hot dogs.
We always glorify the past. We always do it. And that's no disrespect to the legends. It's just like we're seeing legends making history right now. And his name is Shohei Ohtani. And it's unbelievable. What we saw was unreal, where it's still processing. The fact that he was 6 for 6. He's now 50-50. He's stealing bases. He's hitting home runs. Dude, he's doing things we've never seen before. And by the way, we just missed his 50th home run. It was like 10 seconds after we signed off the air yesterday.
We have no control over the network hard out.
I know.
And you guys ended by saying, and watch this at-bat from Ohtani right now, and the hard out hit. We are Fox Sports. And literally 15 seconds later, bam.
Think about it. Talk about big game player, guy rising to the occasion. He's trying to go 50-50, but he does it in such a way where he's 6 for 6. He could have got that cycle if he made that triple. He almost had that triple.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true, but Mike, who runs this place, said it, and he saw it on social media, so it has to be true.
Must be true.
Who said it?
Oh, Mike, who runs this place.
Not one
Never heard
player
of it.
in baseball history was able to do what Shohei Ohtani did in one night. 6 hits in one game.
Okay.
5 extra base hits.
Fair.
10 RBI. 3 home runs. Right? Some people may have had 3 home runs, but they didn't have 10 RBI. Someone may have had 10 RBI, but they didn't have the 3 home runs.
Or 6 hits.
Or 6 hits.
He accomplished some of these milestones in one game, and no other Hall of Famer has done all of these things throughout their career.
He did in one game. I know that sounds confusing, but think about that for a minute. We're seeing an unbelievable player do unbelievable things, and again, he's not completely healthy. But I do agree, that also allows him to focus on being a great hitter, and we're reaping all the benefits.
Dude, that's better than a slow pitch softball stat line. That's better than a Little League stat line. Who goes 6 for 6 with 10 ribbies, 3 home runs, 5 extra base hits? That is,
again, no player has done that in their career.
That's like video game mode.
He did it in one night.
It's unreal.
Watching this guy. Oh my gosh! Shohei Ohtani! The greatest day in baseball history!
It really was. It's not debatable. It is the greatest day. We witnessed the greatest day.
Yo, props to Joe Davis on calling that with truth.
Yeah, it was great.
This is not real life.
Doesn't feel like it.
It's not even Little League. I don't think a kid in Little League has ever had that thing.
I told you.
Yo,
I said it.
I dominated Little League. Not even close. I had a 3 home run game. I didn't have 10 RBI.
Well, I said it a minute ago. That's better than any Little League or slow pitch softball. Like, I'll come home bragging to my wife, like, honey, I went 4 for 4 today with 2 home runs. Yeah, I'm playing with fat old guys at the park.
And by the way, he was like a half a step from the cycle, though. Think about that.
That would have been,
man.
Oy.
He deserves everything and more.
Yo, you know when
that guy is unbelievable.
You know when you don't want to be the old guy and think a replay is real?
Yeah.
Like, another one? No, Grandpa, that's a replay. I felt that way at the gym. When Ohtani hit another?
Right, yeah.
When he hit the third, I was like, oh, no, I saw this. He already hit. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on 1 second.
You didn't want to put a John Sterling. Oh, sorry, it's the replay.
I felt that way. I'm watching the Mets-Phillies at the gym, and they cut in with an Ohtani home run, and I go, oh, it must be the one that we saw at the studio. Oh, wait, no, that's not the... What?
Okay, so my question based on this, we gave you the stats. You've seen it. You've heard about it. All night long they were talking about it. Shohei and Aaron Rodgers, they both had nights, but Shohei's was ridiculous, right?
He's going to bat 120 in the playoffs.
Of all the things that he accomplished yesterday. No, but of all the things you've seen and the highlights you've watched and everything he did yesterday, the 5 extra base hits, almost the cycle, 3 home runs, 10 RBI, 6 hits. Of all the things you've seen from this guy, what's the most impressive to you? Like, Rich, you were really impressed to see how he just flew around the bases yesterday. Because he took a regular, like, routine double and almost turned that into a triple.
Yeah, I said to you guys,
like, the dude's fast.
What just reeked of stand-up double. 99% of guys.
He almost got that triple.
Stand-up double, do the little dance at second.
Yeah.
He almost legged out a triple on what really was just a ball in the gap, picked up cleanly.
What's the most impressive?
The speed and the obvious fact that we are forgetting there's another layer of his game, and that is a Cy Young level pitcher. It's when we were kids thinking about how Bo Jackson was running for touchdowns, but also climbing walls in the outfield, robbing home runs and hitting home runs and beating infield hits out like he's, Ricky Henderson. What we're seeing is absurd. Put it in perspective.
It's hard. It's hard to process and put in perspective.
It's when we talked about,
it's like circus numbers.
When we talked about Bo Jackson, you try to put in perspective like, all right, that would be like, Derrick Henry also hitting home runs. Or McCaffrey also playing baseball. It doesn't make sense. But when I tell you, that would be like Aaron Judge.
I know.
What if I told you, oh yeah, by the way, you might not know this, but Aaron Judge is a starting pitcher that could get you maybe 15 to 20 wins. It just doesn't feel real.
How about this, too? It's very subtle. I got to give Mike, who runs this place, credit. He makes great observations. He really does, Mike.
Who?
Mike, who runs this place?
Never heard of him.
Looks like Rick from Pawn Stars.
Looks like Stone Cold, 10 years older, even though he's younger than Stone Cold.
Mike! Looks like this.
Never heard of him.
He goes, and look how respectful he is when he takes his curtain call. Like, not only putting up monster numbers, 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 10 RBI, 50-50, but he so humbly takes his curtain call, right? He waves to the fans. He's a super duper star.
He almost seems shy.
Yeah, he's shy and humble about it, but so respectful to the point where you see him wave to the crowd, but he also acknowledges, I think he acknowledges the pitcher and says, like, I'm not trying to show you up.
He did, yeah.
Right? Like, you see him, he waves to the crowd, then he turns around, Rich, and you see him look toward the diamond. And I think he's looking toward the picture and be like, hey, man, I'm not trying to show you up. I'm just, I'm just saying thanks to the crowd.
He gave the pitcher a little look like, no disrespect.
Like, it's unbelievable. And then to think about this. Remember how the season started with all the controversy?
I was just about to say.
I'm glad you brought that up. Rich.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Rich, remember your first thoughts on that when we were live on the air when that was all breaking news with Dan Byer on our show. You thought, and some others thought too, that translator is covering for Ohtani. He's going to go to jail.
And you thought that was, you don't need this noise to start the season. This is a bad start. To think that he put up these numbers, these type of numbers with that kind of start, all that controversy. That was weeks of controversy, man. You're like, oh, man, Ohtani, look what he's doing. He's blowing it in L.A. This is terrible.
Do you think his old translator made a prop bet for him to go 50-50 before all this? Like
I knew that was coming.
But it's kind of a forgotten thing. It's like we all kind of forgot about it.
There's some other athletes who probably would have unraveled around all that noise.
That is unbelievable. So, again, I posed this question based on everything we saw. What impresses you the most? It could be something subtle, like I said, the respect he showed to the opposing team. It could be the fact that, hey, they pitched to him in the first place. What impressed you about the whole experience or his skills? And, man, I'm also here to say, for as much as I love history and the legends, seriously, Babe Ruth, forget about him.
Step aside.
Yeah, there's a new guy.
You know what he has in common, though, and I'm not old enough to have seen Babe Ruth play. Unfortunately, none of us are.
You don't say?
Yeah, but those old black and white videos we've always seen growing up our entire lives.
Yeah.
The one thing that, and I'm not alone, that we notice about Babe Ruth, how easy and smooth his swing was. It looked like effortless.
I feel like he sort of stepped into it because they weren't pitching nearly as fast.
Well, that's one thing with Ohtani, though, that I love watching. And yesterday, that 49th home run, that might be the most beautiful swing I've seen all season, where it literally looks like just a smooth little golf swing. It's so natural, and it's like he was born to be the best player ever to live. It's insane.
It really is.
You know what it is? You've seen it more so with pitchers. Japanese baseball players have slightly different mechanics sometimes than American and
of course.
Latino
You
players.
can notice it, yeah.
Yeah, there's just like you said, this is different, strutting their swing or something. And there's just this little hitch and smoothness to his swing that is just different. There's something about
motion in his swing, yeah. I believe it was Colin Cowherd that said it this morning. You see all these highlights and clips throughout the day, guys. We live the same life as you. You're scrolling, you're watching highlights, you're seeing all these clips. And I believe it was Colin that said something along the lines of, even in the Dodgers lineup, when it's just stacked with superstars, you got Mookie Betts, right? You got Freddie Freeman. You got superstars on this team. And they pale in comparison to the skill level of this guy. He makes them look average. Where guys like Mookie Betts are even like, man, I don't even know. What did Colin call him? Sexy? He's just a sexy player. So you may have thought
Sexy.
You thought they may have been, going overboard with Aaron Rodgers last night on that broadcast. Well, let me tell you, we're going to go overboard on Shohei Ohtani because I've been a baseball fan my whole life. We all have. And what we're seeing is unbelievable. And mind you, I'm not a Dodgers fan. I'm just making that clear. I'm not a Dodgers hater either. But I think we're all a fan of greatness, and we witness it every night with this guy. And he stepped up so big last night. Bigly, for real.
And clinched a playoff spot, Rich,
Yeah.
with that win, which is something obviously he never did with the Angels.
Yep.
So the next
Anything
layer.
else?
Is that the single best performance ever by an athlete?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what's
by an
crazy.
athlete who?
Yes, dude.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Give me another one.
In a single game. Think about it.
Again, those are video game numbers.
I know what you're saying, but like a 100-point NBA game, any Kobe
I
or
know.
Jordan game.
I know who beat him. Bo Jackson in Tecmo Bowl had better stats.
That's the only person.
That's the only
Marcus
person.
Allen maybe in Tecmo Bowl.
Mark McGuire in RBI baseball. Like, there's no other person, I think, that had that kind of day with that kind of significance, too. He was going for 50-50. They're clinching a playoff. Like, unbelievable. Talk about big-time players.
Well, there's two layers I want to bring up before we move on to the NFL. Layer number one is...
And by the way, Rich, I'm trying to process it. I really am. So talking it out with you guys is making me and hopefully you guys sort of absorb what we're witnessing.
Skip Schumacher. I really admired what he said after the game. It was interesting because you could have pitched around this guy at some point. You could have not went after him.
Mm-hmm.
And listen to what Skip said.
I think that's a bad move, baseball-wise, karma-wise, baseball god-wise. You go after him and see if you can get him out. And I think out of respect for the game, we're going to go after him.
Right?
I love it.
That's a great answer. Like, listen, I'm not dishing it up for him, but I'm not going to walk him. I'm not going to, this is good for baseball. Have our best pitchers go at him. And if he wins,
then he
wins.
deserves it. Yeah, but we're going after it. I love that.
And the other layer is, all right, now that we've done this, 6 for 6, 10 ribbies, 50-50. All right, Shohei, you're the greatest. You'll be pitching next year, maybe in the postseason. Here's the question. How much does his postseason performance play into how you view him? Because this is his first little taste, his first sniff of the postseason. Keep in mind, the Angels weren't taking him there. So we get to see Shohei on the big stage wearing the little patch on his hat. He's a playoff player now, come 2 weeks from now.
Little taste.
I think he's one of those unflappable, unrattled sort of guys where he steps up and lives in those moments.
Seems like it, right?
He's so calm and cool and collected. I mean, just what he did last night proves that. I don't think there's any moment bigger than what he's capable of. And I can't wait to see that in the playoffs. And like I said, with that greatness, you get that discipline, that humble side of his culture as a Japanese player. Have you seen that Rob Lowe story that's gone viral too?
No.
Rob Lowe, all handsome. He's on The View or something telling stories about, I forget what show it is. It's definitely a show I don't watch.
Rob Lowe, the guy that wears the NFL hat?
Yeah. No, that's Rob Pelinka.
No.
Or is that Rob
Well,
Lowe?
that was Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe tells the story of how he met Shohei Ohtani. And it's like a magnificent sort of thing. Oh, my God. Like, even movie stars are, like, enamored by this guy, right? Because he's massive just by stature, too. And he says that he's working out. And he goes to Shohei, I'd love to get a picture. And he's like, absolutely, give me 1 minute. He goes, he comes back out in full uniform. He goes, he gets dressed just for this moment. Stirrups, socks, hat, just for the picture. He goes, and I felt so bad, like he didn't have to do all that. And then later on, he texts Rob Lowe and asks him permission if he could post the photo just out of respect. He goes, no other athlete would have treated me with that amount of respect. He goes, kind of shows you what type of guy he really is. He goes, no one else would have done that. So, I mean, it's the little things about the guy. Forget about the monster home runs. The little things that are also pretty impressive about this dude.
Shohei Ohtani, everybody.
And hey,
Shohei.
I'm going overboard, Rich, and I think we all are, because what we witnessed was a once-in-a-lifetime thing where we'll tell our grandkids that, well, we were on the air right before it happened, Rich, or as it was happening.
Listen.
But we all witnessed it yesterday, and it was unbelievable. We have a Babe Ruthian type of story. You know how old guys be like, I saw him call the home run. He called his shot. Oh, let me tell you about the Babe. We could tell our grandkids one day, it was September 19th. I'll never forget it. Shohei Ohtani, he was going to be the first 50 and 50-50. And let me tell you, it wasn't just an ordinary day for him.
Grandpa, you're drooling.
Yeah, no, seriously, but it was one of those days. You'll be feeding the ducks thinking about that one day as an old guy.
And what a better time to be a sports fan with NFL Week 3 here. 9 games left in the baseball world. That, to me, is ridiculous. You got a weekend series, you got a weekday series, and then the final weekend. So every team's got 3 game sets left. It's just as good as you could get in the world of sports.